Hello, friends, and welcome to the Purple Mountain Live. And it's a pleasure to have you all joining us, whether you're watching us on Facebook or on our YouTube page as well. And it's an absolute pleasure to be inviting once again our guest, Ayla Schafer. So thank you so much for joining us, Ayla.
You're very welcome.
Ayla is a world and folk musician. She's a sound healer, a song carrier, and a beautiful soul as well. It's a pleasure to be speaking with her once again, and we're just going to be having a chat for up to the next hour, and sharing some of Ayla's journeys and philosophies. So, first of all, Ayla, it's a pleasure to have you with us. And I just first question I want to ask you, because we're living in strange times and changing times, that how's your life been recently? How's your journey been? Where to start?
There has been a patch recently. There's been a patch of a really big crash within the natural waves that there are in life. I had a big, one of those when you really hear the ocean kind of shake and shake and shake. And the kind of physical reality of my life is also very shaky. We don't have a home. We're traveling around Portugal and on the quest to find where we want to live. Not sure if that's Portugal, but we're spending time here. So yeah, me and my partner and my 2-year-old being homeless in a world which is really shaky at the moment, and not having the stability of a home. That kind of primal safety has been it's really been a challenge. And I find it's very confusing time. I feel very foggy. In that process of distinguishing, I think this is part of the challenge now, is like knowing ourselves really, that we can distinguish like what is mine, what is my process, what is my shedding or deep diving, and what is just the collective, and what are the energies of what's going on right now. Because if we were not feeling the collective process, then that in some ways would be even more worrying. If we were completely detached and numbed out from what's going on in the world right now. And there's so much confusion, a lot of fear and panic, and the unknown, the great unknown that we're all in together. So I've been in that in myself and in a bigger context.
So it's it can be difficult enough navigating, changing home, or trying to find a new sanctuary, as well as all these changes. And I think you make a very good point of we have our own processes and what we're experiencing on our own journey, but there's no way we can not accept what's going on outside of that as well, and feel it. I think very energetically, it's very quickly changes. I know myself and Stephen have felt energies where some weeks are a little bit lighter, and then, like you say, it comes in like a wave crashing, and also with that comes all our stuff as well that meets it almost. So it's something I spoke about, because we've done a few talks on health and well-being, and I've asked quite a few people about pressure. So actually, I'm going to ask you, if that's okay, that how would you advise, or how do you cope when you feel overwhelmed by pressure? And there's so many different pressures that people are feeling at this moment in the world.
Yeah, I think that's an incredibly valuable question, not just to ask me, but for each person to ask themselves, because that pressure is really on.
Yeah.
Right now, we're really being squeezed. And for me personally, where I've been particularly in these past few weeks, is actually like receiving that pressure, like changing the relationship with that pressure, and instead of like, oh, this is something I need to like meet with my resistance, like I feel pressure, so like push it away, resist it, fight it, because
Yeah.
it's a challenge and it's incredibly uncomfortable, and it's quite a deep instinct to respond to discomfort in that way, to want it to go away, and just making that shift of receiving instead of resisting, receiving the pressure and actually allowing it to like, what does it need to do? It's a bit like being in the ocean, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
what happens if I just give myself to that wave? Where does it want to take me into myself? And most likely, like my experience has been, the pressure will take me deep and dark. Like, it's not like, oh, if I receive it, then it will go away. It's like, no, if I receive it, it's going to really, really take me where I need to go. And that's where the medicine is. As Eckhart Tolle says, doesn't he? It's like it takes an immense amount of pressure to turn coal carbon into diamond. It's
Yes.
can only happen with huge amount of pressure. And for him, I mean, he has an amazing story himself, doesn't he? Like his moment of enlightenment came in the kind of most immense amount of pressure when he basically decided to give up on his life, and something shifted for him. But not talking about him so much in this context, but what I am finding from being under the pressure within myself and my own reality, but also collectively, is it brings me to this place in my being where I'm asking just questions of who am I? Like, who
Yeah.
am I in this moment of intense pressure? And within posing myself that question, it's like standing at this doorway where there's like two options. Right, in this pressure right now, I can go into the story and the suffering and the struggle and the fight and all that doorway will lead me to, which I have done so much of. Or it's like this other doorway of embracing, of accepting, of not trying to change anything from what it is right now. This is what it is in this moment. And within that doorway, it begins to open up to this, just a place within myself where I can separate myself from the story that is happening in my reality in that moment,
Yeah.
whatever it may be. I can step back. It's like a feeling of leaning back into another, the layer behind of truth, of my soul, of my spirit, of grace, of God, of the consciousness that we are and that is holding us, and resting there and being able to watch and observe. And then from that perspective, it's also we get this, it's like the eagle perspective that I have then been able to understand the gift that the pressure is bringing. Like,
Yeah.
wow, look, it's only with this huge amount of pressure that I'm coming to these places of understanding, or I'm learning that lesson, or I'm humbling myself to be able to break open, or whatever it is.
Yeah. Pressure can be a great it can be a great opportunity. Yeah.
It can be a
But
great
not easy.
opportunity.
Yeah.
No,
I, I mean,
not easy.
it's something so important to us that you mentioned there that we've been feeling here at the Purple Mountain is such an important question for everybody to ask in these, not just in these times, but to move forward is who am I? Ask that question to ourselves. I
Mm,
feel that's so important because I feel once we start to discover our true self and really know who we are and why we're here, that opens up and it can dissolve a lot of difficulties that we might feel are around us.
mm,
Where I feel it's
mm,
very easy to look at the outer sometimes to fix things. What do I need? What do I need to bring in to fix things?
mm,
And really, it's all. sort of sat there waiting. Does that make sense?
Mm, mm,
Yeah, so it's self-discovery as well. So, but yeah, thank you for sharing that as well.
mm.
But something I wanted to talk about is obviously as a ceremonial musician, how do you feel? How important is it with connecting with music as a way of healing?
Mm. Hmm. Yeah, it's obviously music is a absolute central part of my reality and has been the lifeline from my personal healing journey from a very young age. So I will be speaking from obviously from my experience and my relationship where music has that place in my reality, but also from what I feel that I've learned from observing in the world. Like one of the things that really jumps out to me when you ask me this question is if we look at indigenous cultures, traditional cultures from all around the world, I would say nearly all of them, when it comes to their healing work, their rituals, their ceremonies, their doctoring, in whatever form that may look like, traditionally, sound and music, voice, song, instruments of different kinds would have been an absolute key part of that process. We obviously have a very different medical healing system now, but
Yeah,
for me, I find a lot of inspiration and understanding comes from looking at how did we do things over many, 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 many years, and
yeah,
how are people still doing things where my being simply just is drawn to, and it's not that I can understand it. I can't necessarily say why why are they using voice and sound and music for healing? Like, what exactly is going on there? I can't necessarily say, but what I experience is that music is the language of creation, is the language of our heart, of our soul,
yeah,
of this existence. Like the Shipibo people, they from how I understand the way they experience the world, is that they talk about like the ikaros that they sing, the songs that they
yeah,
sing for healing, that actually the whole of reality is woven together by these ikaros. They exist like these thread lines of sound and vibration that is weaving together this amazing tapestry that we're part of. And one of the reasons why they sing these ikaros, when they can look at somebody's body and they can see like, okay, say I have like some injury in my shoulder, physical, or maybe I have an energetic or something, and they can see where the song line is kind of distorted, and through
wow,
singing it, through singing that particular song line that they can read and interpret, they can reweave the song line back into harmony. So in whatever form of healing, they literally using the voice to have a dialogue with these song lines, these threads, this music that is anyway existing. So when we are singing, sounding, we're speaking this language, and there's many layers to it. As I see, also music is like words, for example, is like it's the language of our mind, and
yeah,
music is a language. It can also be the language of our. It's multifaceted. It can communicate with the mind because there can be words in the songs, and we've all had those moments that are incredibly powerful when the song says something and our mind kind of receives it and it goes deep into our being, and it's like a
mm,
total epiphany. And there's also music can speak to our heart beyond the words. When you just hear something beautiful, it might not even be a voice, it might be some beautiful cello part, and you're just moved. Like we say, oh, it moved me or it touched me. Like, what do we mean when we say that? How is music? It is able to move. So in terms of our healing, can move things in our heart. It can communicate to our body because it's resonance, it's vibration, can literally vibrate the cells in our body, like when it comes to sound healing and how people work with very specific frequencies that have different resonance. Healthy cells vibrate with a particular resonance, and unhealthy cells, our bodies and our soul energetically. I hear Indigenous people speak a lot about music as a spiritual force. Like, why do we sing these songs in our ceremonies? Why do we, when someone comes for healing, like, why do they chant these particular songs? It's like this they say is a spiritual force in itself that we are bringing into manifestation, especially when these songs are very ancient and old and they've been used over and over again, that their force kind of has collected that momentum over however many.
It's incredible to experience them. I actually feel it's something that you have to have felt or experienced in some form. Because my first experience with a shaman singing Icaros, and it just brings something up that, it can heal, and it's so powerful. So powerful, yeah.
We can't understand. It's also the mystery is part of, because I contemplated a lot. I've been asked these kind of questions a lot also, and in the end, I always reach a point where I go, and I don't understand. You know, it's a mystery, and that's the beauty, like the beauty of this earth, like the great mystery is the language, the language of God.
Yeah, and I feel some of these because a few times I've thought, what are they saying? Can this be translated?
Yeah.
And then I've thought, after I thought, no, it doesn't need to be, because I can feel it.
Yeah.
I can feel it already, and I think I'd agree with you there. It is, and the mysterious side is part of the joy of it, in a way, the power, if that makes sense, like the great mystery. But
I feel the mysterious part of it is what helps us to move our presence away from our mind, actually. And this is what in terms of healing, feel this great journey we're on as humanity also right now, as we've got very, very, very stuck in this realm of ego and mind and all the things that we believe are important that the mind will say. And music is so effective at bringing us deeper into ourselves, really into ourselves, into a deep connection with ourselves and with that around us. And I feel like for healing to really happen, there is this great journey of really learning to listen. This is the beauty of music. If we can really listen and really receive it with our presence and our stillness, through doing that, we're actually learning this art, the art of listening and the art of presence, which is absolutely crucial for our forward journey as humanity, to be able to listen deeply to ourselves, listen deeply to the earth, to the sky, to the trees, to one another. That level of sensitivity that's actually required to be able to really listen to music. And you see in our culture, like the pop music, you don't need to be sensitive. It's desensitizing to listen to kind of lots of the music out there. Is doing the opposite.
Yeah, I agree.
So
And
also not all music has the same.
It's something Stephen's quite passionate about as well, that he's often said on this journey we've had the past 2 to 3 years with really enjoying so much ceremonial music, that it's very hard to listen to what we'd say chart popular music. Very difficult to go back to it because you're not feeling what you're feeling with these songs. So they're so very special, I feel, and an intricate part in the healing process, finding ourselves again. You mentioned it, reconnected, and when I mentioned before about the Icaros, really, I suppose it is the mind that wants to know what the actual word is, and the spirit, our true selves, doesn't need to, because it can accept them. There's no language that way, if that makes sense. But what I always find interesting about or wonderful is the way that the plants and the trees can teach songs and pass these songs. And I've heard many stories from shamans, musicians, and I'm just wondering, have you experienced that, where you felt had quite a powerful experience connecting with a plant, a tree, a medicine, and afterwards you've really felt this song coming forward that you've had to create?
Yes and no.
Yeah.
I haven't actually experienced in the same way. Like there are like people, especially when they do diets with a plant. This is what I hear.
Yeah.
Like, to really deeply, profoundly make a relationship with the plant, and then it starts giving it songs to you. And I haven't actually had that experience or gone on that journey yet. I look forward to making space when I have time to enter that kind of space, probably when my child is a bit bigger. But for me, I can relate to it in that I feel I receive the songs from the earth spirit more as a kind of a bigger whole spirit.
Yeah.
Maybe not so directly from specific plants, but from the earth, the voice of the earth, through the connection of the earth.
So do you feel, I know you do a lot of work with connecting with the earth, and if those are watching, for everybody watching here, I actually feel that what we're feeling at the moment, if things are getting a little bit too much for people, I feel a really good way is to get out and connect with nature. And I know you gave us some wonderful thoughts last time we spoke to you, and it really made me think, because so many times we take ourselves, I live right near a beach, and when I go to the beach, I was like, all right, I'll chill. And he said, well, what about sometimes praying to the water and giving back? Sometimes, and giving that appreciate, and it really, I felt that was such a profound point. So for anybody watching, how would you explain the power of connecting with our with nature and all that surrounds us?
Yeah, I guess it's this simple journey that we are on as humanity of returning home to our mother, and returning or going forward, however we want to say it. I know some people don't like to think that it's a backwards process, but like remembering and evolving to live in balance and harmony and in right relationship with the earth. And we can only do that if we really have embodied that connection with the earth. Otherwise it's just nice words, everybody's talking about this is nothing new. Like, oh, we have to reconnect with the earth and we have to listen to her, and this is like this message is coming strong from all directions, but it's empty unless we really feel that relationship. We feel that knowing, like, this is she who has given birth to all life that is here, and I am only alive because of all that I receive from this amazing earth and all the elements that are feeding my heart, my body, my soul, my mind, my whole life. So it's like very simple, like, okay, how do we feel connected to the earth? Like, be with her in a state of presence and openness, make time and space to seek out places that inspire us also. And I've never lived in a city, but it's one of the things that terrifies me, is how would I do that in a city? But I know that there's nature everywhere.
Yeah.
There will always be a tree or a flower or some moment of miracle. The sky, you can always see the sky or the sun or the moon, and taking time learning to quieten our mind, that we can begin to be in a dialogue with the earth and with nature. It's not only through our mind. The mind can be useful if we want to pray and we want to use words, but sometimes the most powerful prayer can just be like that feeling of awe when we see a beautiful sunset. Like that's prayer, like that's communion with nature, when we are moved, when we are touched by that beauty. And yeah, like I can't remember what I said the last time we spoke, but I guess if I was talking about kind of extending that dialogue and communication and that relationship by making offerings to the water or to the earth or to the trees or to that little corner in our garden that we just like because it just feels something nice there, you know.
Yeah.
Giving seeds and stones or flowers, or speaking of our water. We might not even have a garden, but we still have a cup of water. Like that's the sacred element from this earth. And it's, you know, whether these things, you might go, well, I don't know if I believe in that or this. Whether they are, the magic there is real or not, I think what's more relevant is like we're presenting ourselves, we're making that step forward to make ourselves available for that relationship, which we are born from. It's our nature. It's the most natural thing for us. You see it in children, how they are in nature. It's so easy for them to feel that connection. They feel most at home. My son, it's like I can't keep him inside. He just wakes up in the morning, goes out.
And how old is your son?
He's 2 years old.
2 years.
Out.
Straight away.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, so he's going to be right amongst nature as soon as he grows. Yeah, it's really important, because I feel it's like many things, we can say it within our minds, but sometimes just surrender and do it, and just to go with the flow of things, and appreciation and respect as well. And I think you're quite right in a way. We can all, I know I can, we can all talk these things, but sometimes I feel we're living in a time of doing. Let's just do it. Let's not talk about it and talk ourselves out or in of something. Let's just do and see where it takes us. And that can be very difficult to do sometimes. It can be not difficult. I want to say it can be challenging. I'll use that word. Yeah.
Sure, it requires us to step up.
Yeah. Froze a little bit. Oh,
we're back.
Yeah, we're back. We're back.
That threw me a little bit, actually. I can't remember what I was saying.
So we're just talking about the challenges of doing, of just going with the flow, and instead of sometimes we can try and negotiate with ourselves, talking ourselves in and out of things, and to just go with the flow, and to accept that love and the unconditional love of the earth. Something I put on a post the other day. The earth provides everything we need unconditionally for everybody. It is there. Yeah. So it's what I wanted to ask is, I know we spoke a little bit, we were talking about music, and I do find that certain songs, and a lot of people experience this, that a certain song comes to them, or they find it, and it can kind of stay with them for a period of time through a cycle of their life, and they just, if they're not listening to it, they're singing it. If they're not singing it, they're humming it. It's just coming in all the time. And what's your feelings on that? And have you experienced that within yourself, where a song just stays with you for a period of time, and you can really enjoy it and accept it?
Absolutely. I experience that a lot. It's sometimes I experience it with my own songs. Like when a song comes and it's fresh and it's new, it tends to be, it tends to stay. Like, it'll be the only one that I want to song, and I'll be carrying it very present. And it's like I'm fully immersed in the medicine that I'm receiving from that in the moment. But I also receive it. Sure, there's these songs that I just fall in love with, and I just on repeat, and nothing else satisfies. Like, no, I don't even want to listen to anything else. And I've had that also a lot with also indigenous songs that I learn along the way. And I see that when you want to learn songs as well as just listening to them, it gets even stronger. The kind of magnet, it would be like that song, like I have to learn that song. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't even understand it maybe, but it's moving. It's like I said earlier, it moves or it touches us, and we can kind of discuss why this might be. Like, is there somehow there's a spiritual communication that the song in itself is a spirit or a spiritual force that we are ripe to receive, or it's giving us the exact medicine we need in that moment. But in many ways it comes back again. It seems this dialogue we're having is a lot about, like, does the mind need to know?
Yeah.
Does the mind really need to understand that, or is it another opportunity to be just amazed at the mystery of life and to just receive and navigate from the heart? Like, wow, what a beautiful opportunity to see, like, I just know something, not because of my mind. I just know this song, I want to listen to this song. Like, how do we know?
Yeah.
What's telling us? What does it feel like to know? Like, yes, feed that feeling. Like, that's grace. That's so beauty. That's what we want. That's how we want to walk our lives. That's how we want to be guided by that feeling. So music can give us that beautiful gift of tuning into what does that feeling feel like, and how can I identify that in other moments of my life where I just know it's this way. I just know it's yes, or I just know it's no. This is right. This is not right.
Yeah, if everything could be just going with that effortless flow, just as we could accept a song or a song coming into our lives and just enjoy it. Yeah, I feel that's
When you just know,
yeah.
I like this song, or I don't like this song. No, I just don't like it. Like, I just don't like heavy metal. Sorry. Like, I just know
Yeah.
that, it's quite easy with music to know that you like it or not.
Yeah, absolutely. It's sometimes can be very individual to the person. We use or have used in some of our circles a lot of guided meditations and such, and spoken word, and we find they can divide a room. But some people will really enjoy them and go,
Wow.
wow, I really enjoyed them. And you could get the other half of the room and went, oh no, I just couldn't accept that.
Ah,
Yeah.
yeah, interesting.
So it's interesting that it's even though we can come together as a collective, it can be something individually that maybe it doesn't resonate, and to others that's like, wow, it just resonated with me so much. How could, and they're looking at the other side of the room almost going, how could you not? So
Yeah,
it's each person to their own. What I wanted to ask you about actually is song we've been playing at the Purple Mountain. We do play a lot of these songs during ceremonies, and really find them they fit well and they're accepted. But the song "Rose" we
Hmm.
find is such a special song, and so much strong feminine energy within the song, and it's very empowering, I feel, and wonderful. And I just feel, what's your feelings about that song, and how did the creation of it come about? Because I actually feel it's
Mm,
such an important song for the here and now. And I
mm,
know you do a lot of work on the with the feminine energies and such. And I know Stephen would agree with me that we feel that the rebalancing of the feminine energy is really needed at this moment in time.
It's not wine, by the way.
Yeah.
Sorry, it looks like I'm drinking wine. Sorry, carry on. The balancing of feminine energy is
Yeah,
really
we
needed
we
this
we
time.
feel the rebalancing of feminine energy and allowing uh, even with men allowing that feminine energy to come up, you know, to let go, to dance, to feel, to sing. Really, it was about the song. How did you feel when you were creating that song, and
Mm.
how important is it to you, the words?
Yeah, I mean, actually, back to that question that you asked me a few questions before, that is a song that did come from me spending a lot of time with the Wild Rose. I was actually on a women's retreat in Italy, a 5-day self-care women's retreat, they called it. So it was very, very gentle. It was very much about really coming to this beautiful, loving space with the self. And we were working with the wild rose that was growing there. So that song, yes, was somehow gifted from the understandings that I was receiving through just contemplating the rose. You know, this like it's just divinity in a flower. You know, when you really look at a rose, you almost can't believe like perfection, how all the petals layer perfectly, that it will be able to just flower perfectly in the colors and the smells, and just so beautiful. And then it really struck me like, but wow, they have really sharp thorns. Like you can really get quite hurt by a rose if
Yeah,
you don't treat it in the right way. And I was just contemplating that a lot. And then I was there on this retreat. Really, I was working with the places around my heart that felt like the thorns, basically. You know, the places in me that felt spiky and that felt like they were
yeah,
protecting these layers of protection. And um yeah, I guess it was like a shift that happened in me from feeling like, oh, there's something wrong with me because I have this protection and my heart is got shielded, and like, you know, these layers of my wounding that I see as something wrong.
yeah,
And the rose helped me to see like, no, these layers are part of my exquisiteness. Like these layers were necessary in my journey of being a human being, the same way that the thorns are necessary for a rose in its journey of being a rose. And it's part of my beauty, and it's something to be really grateful for. And through making that shift, I guess what was happening in that process was then the flower really was able to open, because there wasn't like conflict. Those places were able to dissolve, which is why the beginning of the song goes softening, softening, softening all the
yeah,
hardness, melting all that's frozen, letting go of the sorrow, dissolving into love, all the shadow. So in that moment, yeah, I mean that the opening of the song describes the journey I was really in that moment of that dissolving of the hardness, the frozenness, the numbness, the thorns that came from that place of loving them and being grateful for them. And then sure, there's a lot. I could probably talk for a whole hour about this
yeah.
song.
Sure, yeah,
But the essence that we are like the rose, we are stronger than we know, like contemplating and just really feeling what does it mean to be strong. Like, our culture has such a kind of particular perspective on strength. You know, strength is like muscles, and it's men, and it's
yeah,
masculine, and it's kind of like
exactly, yeah,
this particular energy is strength. And strength isn't if you cry and if you express your deepest feelings and you're vulnerable. Like that's you're taught that's weakness, I think, especially as men, which is why it's really beautiful for me that you guys receive that song. You know, men, like, don't cry, you're a boy, you're a big boy now, don't cry,
so
don't
true.
cry.
This absolutely, yeah.
So
That
that's the strength, the strength, yeah, the strength in that
it's
softness
it
and in the
it's
vulnerability.
it's actually something going back to our last chat again, but it was something really profound. I felt you said when you were talking about your journey. and we talk about sort of when we've experienced a cloud above us. And I said, when did you feel the cloud cleared? And you said, well, it never really cleared. I learned to embrace it and to love it, that part of my journey and that part of my experience. And I find that so important, that many of us can feel we need this thing and it needs to go and it's the enemy, and when it's not that way. It's just embracing that and giving it love. And maybe that's where the feminine side needs to come in, because we've lived in a world, we've battled and warred and let's, like you say, let's go. And I feel this is part of our transformation, if that makes sense, of learning another way and embracing everything, embracing the journey, because every experience is a wonderful opportunity to learn and grow. Yeah. So
like the rose bush, like through chopping the rose bush, it grows even more flowers.
yeah,
It likes to be pruned, and we get pruned by our life experiences. Like, ouch! You just like, ouch! That was a really big kind of ouch, that experience. But from that experience, more flowers. So like, can we be like the rose bush? Like, yes. I think there's a beautiful Rumi poem, Hafiz poem, isn't there? We should, I don't remember it, but it's about this, like the rose bush, how it gives itself to the pruning, because it's
we'll have to find it and post it. I'll find it.
Yeah, I'll have a look for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting with roses in the garden, they need a lot of tending to, and the more love, when I've seen people that have roses in the garden, the more love they're given, the more beauty they give as well. Really so. Yeah.
And they love horse shit. Which for me, I just found that also, like, they love growing out of shit. And it's like, hello, like, look, life gives us like these experiences that we're like, oh no, that's like,
I love
shit,
that.
basically. Like that's where we really, really, really grow.
Yeah. Learn to grow something beautiful out of shit. That's that.
The medicine of the rose.
Yeah, that is I love that philosophy. I think I might be using that for a while now. But it's very true. It's very true, because things are always blissful and easy. We have to dig in the dirt and get our hands dirty and mucky, and sometimes we feel we'll never get clean. But when we do, it's like, just get, it's okay. It's okay. Yeah. Oh, thank you so much for that. I just want to ask about one more song, if that's okay. Because I know when we got talking about songs, I could get really carried away. I could start asking about 10, and I know. So I've narrowed it down a little bit here. And the other one is that we've used a lot recently, is the Song of the Drum. And the beginning is just so different, so very different, but another very, very powerful song, I feel. So I don't know if you'd like to share with us sort of an insight into the song, how it came to you, its creation, and what it means to you.
Yeah, it was a very particular moment. I was in Italy in this beautiful valley, olive groves, and kind of very wild and abandoned, in a beautiful flowing turquoise river. And I spent a day with my partner. We took some San Pedro, like a tea, like very, 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 very strong. And I went really dark, really, really, really kind of, it took me incredibly deeply into myself. And at some point during this day, I took my drum and I went and sat, like, there was a kind of, like, the wall of how to describe, like, almost like a cave by the river, but small. And I was like sitting in this kind of small little cave, like in the earth almost, with my drum. And I felt like I didn't even want to play her. I was just like holding this being, and I could feel like this is a being, like this is a she, and this is a spirit. There is a spirit to this drum. And I just really sat with her, and I was like, I don't remember exactly the words that I said, but I basically the beginning of the song where I go, spirit of the drum, come speak in your tongue, da 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 da. I basically said, like, speak to me, spirit of the drum. Like, I'm just listening. I'm not even going to play you. I'm just like here. And I really, in that moment, offered the prayer of my presence to listen to the wisdom of this amazing instrument. And in that sense, it wasn't just this drum, but it was like recognizing kind of there's like almost a universal spirit to what we call the drum, and it holds an ancient memory from every single drum beat, from every single drum that's been drummed over the past however millions of thousands of years, not millions, thousands of years. And essentially, like, the words in that song is what came. You know, the song speaks about the kind of the heartbeat of their ancestors and the ancient memory, and how that connects to our memory and our own bones and our heartbeat, and the many things that it speaks about. That it also came with this very profound like place of prayer, of offering in my being. That was this, like, I offer myself to this journey that we're on, or this great remembering all together, and I offer myself to take care of that which is sacred in this life, to protect that which is sacred, like nothing else in that moment. And also, as I say it right now, I feel that place, like nothing else could feel of more worth of my life than to offer to that great remembering, and to protect that which is sacred. So it's like this it was this calling, and then the chorus of like this calling, that the drumbeat of the heart, the heartbeat of the drum, you know, this exchange of like this calling also being this receiving, and this kind of this magical exchange.
So powerful.
And then the recording was very special to have this guy Hibshu. So there's a voice.
Yes.
He's an Inuit from the Arctic, speaking in this amazing language, and to have his presence on there was incredibly powerful, because he's this amazing man who's really in like walking that prayer of offering his life as a carrier of a very ancient song line, like the Inuits, as I understand, like their understanding of the song and of the drum. Particularly, they have this crazy drum at the beginning. You hear this tapping.
Yeah.
They have these drums because obviously, if you're like surrounded by snow, you can't have like a soft skin on a drum. It's just going to go completely floppy and be like plop. So they make these. It's like a frame, like very tight, and the drum is like hard. It's like hard leather, like almost like plastic. So they hit it with this
a lot more
stick.
denser than what we would see. Yeah,
it's not like soft flexible leather. It's like almost dries like the texture of plastic. And they do this, and they very, very specifically use the drum to communicate with the ancestors. And they have this amazing relationship with the spirit realm, where I heard stories where they're like, they see spirits like they see human beings. They sometimes can't tell the difference. They're like, oh, I'm not sure if I'm talking to a spirit or a human being right now. Like, their relationship with they obviously live in a land that's dark for so much of the year. So that the dream world, the spirit world is just very, it's like completely present for them. And the drum particularly is this magic tool for them, where they really call and really communicate with the ancestors through these rhythms. So his presence was to kind of really anchor that memory. Just hearing him speak, you know, you don't understand what he's saying necessarily, but hearing that language, for me, it invokes something very, very powerful, and I really thank him. Thank you, Hibshu, for being on that song, and
it's a little bit
for the
like we
prayer that he
mentioned.
walks his life.
It's like we mentioned that a little bit like the mystery again coming in that you mentioned before. Yeah.
That we can
How did you
receive
actually?
without the mind.
How did you connect with him? Do you find connections that you have through music? Because I know even doing these interviews, these chats, we've found connections just seem to happen through one way or another. We just seem to, whether it's somebody mutual that we're connected with, and it just seems to flow. And do you find that the same, that people that you're going to work with, or that you're going to connect with music, it just seems to fall and into place and just happen?
Absolutely, it really does happen. I mean, that particular connection was through Chai Fernando, who produced my album, and knows many, many amazing musicians around the world. But music is an amazing way of connecting. It's like water. It finds it will flow wherever, it will flow into every crevice, and it creates these webs. I've been amazed as I go to different places around the world, how the connections through the music, how it opens up these little threads. And I guess it's like, trusting in some greater force taking care of this weave. Because if I'd gone, oh, I know, I want to have an Inuit on the song of the drum, which I would never have thought of anyway. Like it wasn't that we planned that. It was just like Fernando had this idea, and then it just unfolded because he knows this guy Hivshu and da la 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 la. And the songs is also the beauty of recording the songs, is it's very much like that. I can't plan. I don't sit down and record a song and go, okay, I've got a plan. I'm going to have this instrument, this instrument, this instrument. It's going to go like this. Some people work like that. I don't. It's like the song goes, I want this. Like, this is how I need to be expressed. And it
a life force within itself.
Is absolutely a life force within itself. It's quite incredible.
Yeah, that's really special. I always find the greatest, most wonderful experiences in life are those that are unplanned quite often.
Yes. Because our intuition.
Yeah.
One of my teachers once said to me something about, how do you know when your intuition, I asked about something, how do I know when my intuition is speaking to me? And she said, well, it's because it will be the things that actually don't make sense to do. Like when you feel, I feel to, like, I don't know, make some radical move and like quit my job and go traveling in South America, but it doesn't make any sense to do that. Like, how do I know that's my intuition? Yes, because it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
If the mind could make sense of it, then it's probably coming from here. If we can plan, we can't plan magic.
No, that's you can't plan magic. That's
We can't plan
one.
our life purpose, our soul calling. We don't plan. We can't plan how our life will. We can try and plan. Most likely, it will do something different. And this is what COVID is just so teaching us right now, isn't it? Like, you think you can make plans, you think you can steer this, you think you know what's going on with humanity. Like, let me show you something else. It's really a time of letting go.
Transformation. That's just so much good philosophy there, I feel, that we can take forward. And if anybody out there listening, if you've not heard any of Ayla's music, please look it up. You're missing out. You're really missing out on something special. And what's wonderful is that I do find that when you discover that wonderful music from yourself, it leads to other artists and others, and it will lead you other places into this network of ceremonial music and medicine songs. And I actually feel they can call to people as a way the medicine calling. That listening to that song and almost pulling them for that inner work. So it can be a strong part of the healing process. But what I wanted to ask you, if that's okay, Isla, the final question
Mm.
here. We were talking on a few of our interviews about positive ways that we can create and look on in our journey. And it was mentioned actually by Lewis Powell when we spoke to him about vision boards. Now,
Mm.
I don't know if do you ever do a vision board? And if you were to do one right now, what would be your vision board in terms of places you would like to
Mm.
be, or what would be on it?
Well, I don't do vision boards actually.
Yeah.
It's somehow maybe I should do, but
Who knows?
it's it's not how my system navigates things. I
Yeah.
think my vision boards happen more on a kind of feeling prayer level. Like my vision boards is maybe more actually like speaking out loud to Great Spirit. That's how I navigate. So
Yeah.
maybe I will have those moments where the same way that I might sit down with a piece of paper and draw and brainstorm and cut things out and put pictures and however it is that people do their vision boards, I will also bring myself somewhere where it feels I need to be and can be in that dialogue, and I kind of have that conversation literally out loud. And what it would look like right now, I mean, right now at the center of my vision board is a home, really, really calling
Yeah.
for a home, and um to know which land that is, and around that home and the vision board is beautiful nature that I feel I can really be in communication with, and good people, and lots of music and indigenous traditions, and a feeling of a village, like a reweaving of village and tribal ways, and good culture, good nourishment from from the traditions, from the teachings that come there, good garden, growing lots of food,
Yeah. It sounds.
children being happy and free, and yeah, maybe it's kind of quite simple.
Yeah.
That the heart of that vision board, I think, is really the home, the hearth, the fire, the central fire that everything else can spin around. I am not so much on kind of big projects or work visions. Right now, my energy is really going to that core where I feel my being can just root, really, really connect with the stillness in myself, with the earth. I feel I really need that. I feel we all really being asked, slow
And breathe.
down, listen,
Yeah.
listen.
Yeah. It's really important.
Mm.
And do you find often in your work, is it important to you to take a good break for yourself?
Yes, this I am actually now on a very, very long break. I'm
Yeah.
doing little things here and there, but I'm mostly um, saying no and creating a lot of space in my life, and this is incredible medicine for me. I've been for many years, like a bit like wired in my nervous system from all of my experiences in life, and go and do, and it's very difficult for me to just really be, and that's my focus now, is really calming down my nervous system, resting,
Yeah.
learning that it's good to say no, and that I still am worth something if I'm not like out there all the time and constantly
It's
posting things. And
yeah. It's something we find is when you're doing work and you're so passionate about it, you can feel guilty. I feel like I
yes,
should be doing something. I should be. Shouldn't I be doing something? And it's like, no, it's
yeah,
okay. It's okay to just.
yeah,
You don't have to be anything, or you can just sit back. And it can be hard. I feel we experience that
mm,
sometimes, and we talk each
mm,
other out of it, so we're okay. But it's
Yeah.
we've got each other to give each other a bunch here at the Purple Mountain, which is great. But we've talked a lot about it the last couple of weeks, and I know Stephen's felt it. But I feel like I should be, because we're always doing. We should be doing something, but no, it's okay. It's okay. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that's that classic thing, isn't it? That when we feel we should, then just the feeling of should means that it's not coming from our authentic expression where the energy is really there. You know, if it's a should, but if it's like, yeah, like I really feel inspired to do that. And I just feel it's such, for myself, having been so strongly and still so strong in this journey, it's like how we treat ourselves is also so reflective of our relationship with the earth, because our culture is just all about like, keep going, push, more, achieve. This is this. Doesn't matter if you're sick, doesn't matter if you're tired, drink coffee, have this, smoke this, da. Like, whoa, it took me to have a baby. That was the only thing that made me go like, oh my God, I am so exhausted. But it's like not just my body or my mind, but like my soul. Like, it is exhausting being a human being in this time where we're just starved. Like, we're starving of spirituality, of our traditions. We don't have our tribe, we don't have our village. We're like these little ships all on our own, just like desperately trying to stay afloat, and it's exhausting. And if we treat ourselves like that, then of course we're going to treat the earth like that. It's like one is the same. So if we're saying, okay, we need to stop taking and stop raping and stripping the earth, like, for me it's been like, wow, if I sing about all of that, then like I need to just really take care of this home of my body and my being, my mind, rest, sleep. Then I can be of service.
Live in the
Otherwise,
practice.
I'm useless. If I have a nervous breakdown or a physical breakdown or some kind, like, I'm not not going to be very helpful.
No, that's
so
no good.
It's again listening, isn't it? Really listening. What is my authentic truth right now?
I always feel it's like ripples, like the more aligned and balanced we are. The more balanced we are, that it ripples out stronger to everything around us. So it's important that we are well. Yeah, I think we yeah. Can you hear me? Okay.
It's breaking up a little bit on my end. Sorry, Chris.
Breaking up a little bit. Yeah, we're coming up to.
Kind of. It's going like.
It's coming up to about an hour, so it's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you, Ayla. Can you hear me?
Yeah, okay, you're back now, yeah.
Yeah, I'm back now. The wonders of technology, and it'd be wonderful. You never know, one day we might be doing this face-to-face, and we won't need this technology.
Yes.
That'd be wonderful, wouldn't it? We look forward to that, and just thank you so much, because I know just when we're chatting and emailing, I can almost envisage how much, before we've had this conversation today, when you've emailed me back, I can envisage how much you've got on, and I understand it as well, if that makes sense. So I appreciate you sharing this time with everyone as well, and sharing your experiences so openly as well. And I feel that's so important as healers, as space holders, as musicians, whatever we are. It's important that we have our vulnerable side as well, and we're still working through things and trying to work things out ourselves. And I don't think we should ever be afraid to show that, because I actually really feel it's our vulnerabilities that bring us together. Yeah. So just thank you so much.
Shedding our masks.
We just send lots of love from all of us at the Purple Mountain. I really wish you well. And the next time we speak, I'm hoping you've got your home of your own that you're envisaging. We're going to post a link on this video for Ayla's website, and please check out her songs if you get opportunity. And really, for those, a lot of people ask us about meditation. And I feel medicine songs, and just starting off with a medicine song into a meditation can really help for anybody struggling with meditation. You can feel the song, and that will just take you to a place where you can bring that balance and that calm. So please check it out, and thank you very much,
Listen
Ayla.
with just have some advice on that. You can move the sensation of your ears instead of listening with your physical ears. You can imagine you have like ears on your heart, and that you're literally receiving the listening here. That can be a really
Wonderful.
effective way of being able to listen to the music in a new way.
Yeah, so please try that, everyone. Well, we've got so many. We've got this
Heart
time. We've got all this time on our hands, so you can try this. You can try these things. You know, this is switch off the telly. Don't bother with that. It's, and listen to these things that are going to nourish. And it's a great opportunity to have these experiences, because what's the biggest excuse is normally I don't have time. And many of us have been given the opportunity of time. And well, the wonderful thing, meditation and sitting this way, it doesn't cost anything. Everyone can do it. You can have these experiences. So thank you so much, Ayla, for joining us.
Thank
And
you.
just lots of love and blessings, and look forward to speaking to you again in the future.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank
Bye bye,
you.
everyone.
Bye.